Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of life's absolute biggest questions, drawing from the philosophy of Sri Aurobindo. The question is this: does the I that you feel inside you, right now, actually survive death? Or is it all just a mask you wear for this one life, something that's just going to disappear?
So to get us started, I want to share a really powerful little story from the ancient epic, the Mahabharata. It kind of frames our whole discussion perfectly. In the story, a wise king gets asked a riddle, one of those big ones. What is the most surprising thing in the entire universe? And his answer, well, it's pretty profound.
And there it is. That's his answer. And it points to this really strange paradox that we all live with, right? We know our time here is limited, but deep down we act with this gut feeling of permanence. We make these huge, lifelong plans. We build careers, we start families, all as if we have forever. So why? Why do we feel this way?
Well, according to this philosophy, that paradox exists for a simple reason. We aren't just one self. We're actually two. There's the true, immortal person deep inside. You could call it the soul. And then there's the temporary personality we wear on the surface, almost like a mask for the grand stage of life.
This right here really breaks down that core difference. On one side, you've got the true person, the soul, which is eternal and it's always evolving. That's where that feeling of permanence comes from. But then on the other side, you've got the surface personality, your current mind, your identity, the you that you know, which is really just a temporary tool for the experiences of this one specific lifetime.
And here is the absolute key takeaway. This personality, the one you have now, is usually dissolved after death. And not because it's worthless, not at all, but because it's just too specific, it's too narrow for what comes next. For the soul to continue its infinite journey of growth, it needs a fresh vehicle, a new mask, for a completely new set of lessons.
But even with all that logic, there's one thing we just can't seem to shake, that dream of making our current self permanent. And maybe it's not just an illusion. Maybe that feeling of immortality is our soul's true nature just kind of bubbling up to the surface.
And this quest, it's woven through all of human history. We've tried everything. Ancient cultures used magic and rituals to try and conquer death. Alchemists spent centuries looking for the elixir of life. Today, we're doing it with anti-aging science and genetics. We even explored constantly in our science fiction. It's this relentless, timeless pursuit to make this I last forever.
But here's where it gets really interesting. What if this isn't just a dream? The source material we're looking at suggests that the personality can endure. It doesn't have to be dissolved. But, and this is a big but, it's only possible if it undergoes a pretty profound transformation and meets three very specific conditions.
So let's just ask it straight up. Is it possible? The answer is yes, but it's not the default setting. It's not what usually happens. It requires that our personality stops being this disposable mask and actually transforms into a conscious, willing partner for the soul. That's a huge shift, right? From a temporary tool to a permanent companion.
So, here they are, the three keys. First, you need a really strong, stable personality, not something that just blows in the wind or goes with the flow. Second, that personality has to connect with and unify with your deeper self, with your soul. And third, it has to become incredibly flexible, always open, always ready for the next stage of growth, whatever that may be.
And that last point, that flexibility, it might be the most important one of all. Because rigidity is the enemy here. A personality that gets stuck in its ways, locked into its beliefs and habits, that's just too small of a container for an infinite soul. It has to be strong, for sure, but also always ready to change, to expand, and to grow.
Okay, so what happens if these conditions are actually met? What's the payoff? Well, it's a complete and total transformation of our existence. We don't just achieve survival, we achieve a continuity of self that stretches across lifetimes.
Just try to imagine this for a second. Instead of hitting a reset button every time you die, your life becomes one single, unbroken journey. The soul doesn't have to start from scratch anymore. It carries your mind, your personality, forward with it. The I that you are right now could continue to learn and grow forever. That's effective immortality right there. And to achieve this is described as nothing less than an immense victory. It is the ultimate triumph, the conscious self finally breaking free from the normal, limiting cycle of birth and death.
And that brings us to the final question, and this one is for you to think about. Is the self you are building every single day just a temporary mask meant for a single performance? Or are you consciously shaping it into a permanent bridge to the infinite? According to this philosophy, the choice is yours.